Chosen one, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now and focus your entire mind on my words. Do not scroll away. This is not a random video that just happened to cross your screen. It is an urgent and divine interception sent directly from heaven because your soul is at a crossroads. The algorithms of this world did not bring you here. God is personally commanding you to sit down. You need to listen closely. Your spirit has been completely restless lately. You feel tired. Your shoulders are tight. The weight is very real. And every morning when you wake up, a heavy fog is already sitting on your chest before you even open your eyes. You push through. You smile for them. But deep down inside your heart, you know that something massive is hovering right above your life. I am here to tell you exactly what that feeling is. A colossal shift is literally crashing into your timeline in this exact moment. You have been fighting spiritual battles in the dark for so long. You have carried the heavy burdens of everyone around you, while they offered you absolutely nothing but empty promises in return. But the season of bleeding for ungrateful people is officially over today. Sit down right now. Find one quiet place. Put your phone down on the table and take one slow breath in. The heavens have declared a state of absolute emergency for your precious soul. If you swipe away now, you will single-handedly shut the door on the exact breakthrough you have been crying out for during those lonely nights. Do not move. Stay exactly where you are. There is a massive delivery coming to your doorstep. It is so heavy and so profound that the dark forces are completely panicking. They want you distracted. They want you to close this video. Because if you stay until the very final second, you will receive the exact spiritual blueprint to unlock a generational wealth transfer. Heaven is demanding your full attention. The waiting season has officially ended. I need you to fully absorb that truth into your physical body right now. The dry desert you have been walking through has suddenly burst into a beautiful oasis of divine favor. Every closed door is being blown completely off its hinges, and the heavy chains of poverty and mental exhaustion are finally shattering around your feet. But there is a hidden trap waiting for you. There is a secret message buried deep inside this breakthrough that you will completely miss if you leave early. The enemy is setting up a fatal illusion right before your finish line. If you do not hear my final warning, the huge blessing will still arrive at your door, but you will not have the spiritual equipment to hold on to it when the storm hits. Do you feel that sudden shift in the atmosphere? That slight pull in your chest right now is your intuition confirming this absolute truth. Your weary soul recognizes the high frequency of heaven. God is speaking directly to your exhausted heart and demanding that you claim your rightful place. You are no longer the tragic victim of this story. You are the master of your own reality. This is the final warning before the massive wave hits. The elite forces and the narcissists who drained your energy are terrified. They see the brilliant light radiating from your dormant spirit. They know that once you hear the rest of this transmission, their dark manipulation over your life will end forever. They cannot stop what God has already approved. Make a solid promise to your future self right now. Promise that you will not let this sacred message fade into the loud noise of the internet. Lock your tired eyes onto this screen. Open your weary heart to the divine realignment that is happening inside your bloodline today. The terrible storm is finally over, and the universe is proudly handing you the golden keys to the kingdom. Are you ready to receive what is rightfully yours? Are you ready to see the shocked faces of those who doubted you when heaven publicly elevates your name? Sit down, take a deep breath. Let the healing frequency of this message wash over your tired bones, because what I am about to reveal next will change how you walk through this earth forever. Listen to me. I know exactly how your body has been feeling lately. You wake up at 3 a.m. with your mind completely racing. Your heavy chest feels incredibly tight and restricted. You try your absolute best to catch your breath. And no matter how many hours you sleep, you still wake up feeling utterly exhausted. The physical toll on your tired body is very heavy. You are not just a little bit tired. Your very soul is aching for a long rest. You have spent years giving your energy to people who only take. You patiently listen to all of their daily problems. You dry their tears when they are falling apart. But when you need a safe shoulder to cry on, the room is completely empty. The painful silence in your life has been absolutely deafening. You look around and wonder why the universe has left you standing completely alone in the dark. Tap the like button right now as an act of agreement with what God just spoke into your spirit. Do this physical action to proudly claim your healing. You need to understand that your current exhaustion is not a sign of failure. The cruel world tries to tell you that you are just stressed or crazy. They want you to falsely believe that your intense feelings are a medical problem. But I am here to tell you the absolute truth. Your deep intuition has been right this entire time. You are incredibly sensitive to energy because you are a chosen one. Your body is acting exactly like a spiritual sponge. It absorbs the toxic frequencies of every single narcissist and energy vampire who crosses your path. That is exactly why your chest physically hurts around certain toxic people. Please listen carefully to this next important part. Do not let anyone convince you that God is punishing you. The intense loneliness you feel right now is not a heavy curse. It is a highly advanced divine isolation protocol. Heaven saw how much of your precious light was being stolen by ungrateful souls. God had to physically separate you from the noisy crowd to protect your spiritual frequency from total collapse. They pushed you directly into a very dark and lonely corner. They thought they could break your spirit by leaving you out in the freezing cold. But what they did not realize was that solitude was your ultimate training ground. You did not break under the heavy and unfair pressure. You beautifully evolved into a much stronger warrior. You learned how to survive the raging storm completely alone while holding on to your pure heart. Every single time you cried yourself to sleep, heaven recorded your deep pain. The divine realm closely watched your silent struggles. You quickly forgave people who never offered you a genuine apology. You stayed incredibly kind when you had every right to turn completely cold. And because you kept your heart pure through the darkest nights, the universe is preparing a massive reward. You successfully passed the brutal test. Please take a very deep breath right now. Let that absolute truth settle deep inside your tired bones. The heavy seasons of rejection were intelligently designed to upgrade your entire nervous system. You are a powerful and unstoppable cycle breaker. Your entire bloodline depends on your ultimate spiritual victory. God had to slow you down because the blessing coming your way requires a vessel that is strong enough to carry its massive weight. You have been quietly mourning the sad loss of your old friends. You wonder why your family members act so strange around you lately. They constantly treat you like you are the biggest problem, but you are definitely not the main problem at all. Your high frequency simply exposes their dark, unresolved trauma. Your pure light makes their hidden demons feel very nervous. That is exactly why they suddenly walked away without giving you an explanation. Stop blaming yourself for the many empty chairs at your dining table. Stop thinking you did something terribly wrong to deserve this total and complete isolation. The painful rejection was not an actual rejection at all. It was God secretly answering the desperate prayers you never even spoke out loud. Heaven deliberately slowed your earthly progress to keep you safe from hidden enemies. You were divinely protected from dangerous rooms you were simply never meant to enter. Do you feel that massive shift in your heavy chest right now? That is the heavy burden of false guilt finally leaving your physical body. You were carrying heavy spiritual bags that never actually belonged to you. You were busy fixing broken people while your own beautiful soul was silently bleeding. But God says, you need to sit down today and rest your mind. You do not have to fight this exhausting and lonely battle anymore. The great war is already won in the invisible spirit realm. The divine isolation has perfectly served its beautiful and protective purpose. Your glowing aura is finally clean from their dirty and parasitic energy. You have successfully become an untouchable master of your own reality. And because you bravely survived the deep valleys alone, you will appreciate the high peaks even more. I need you to listen very closely to what is quickly coming next, because the divine reason behind your suffering will absolutely shock your entire system. They laughed and called you way too sensitive. They cruelly mocked your gentle and forgiving heart. They took your infinite kindness and completely mistook it for stupid weakness. But your sensitivity is actually a very dangerous weapon of pure blazing light. It allows you to clearly read the true intentions behind their fake smiles. You easily see right through the hollow masks of every single narcissist. You cannot be manipulated by their cheap and predictable tricks anymore. So, I want you to truly rest your tired mind tonight. Close your weary eyes and know that heaven is fighting fiercely on your behalf. The physical pain in your aching body is slowly dissolving right now. You are being deeply healed from the inside out by a pure frequency. The heavy chains of your past trauma are finally falling to the dusty floor. Your tired soul is completely safe in the loving arms of the universe. You kept asking God why your earthly plans were constantly delayed. You tried so hard to push forward with all your physical strength. Every time you built something beautiful, it mysteriously fell completely apart. You felt terribly cursed. You felt like heaven entirely forgot about your deepest desires. But listen carefully to this next part. God deliberately hit the heavy brakes on your life. God commanded you to sit down. The universe forcefully paused your entire timeline for a very specific reason. If you had succeeded earlier, you would have carried all the wrong people with you. You have a terrible habit of dragging heavy weights across the finish line. You always want everyone to proudly win together. But heaven knew those fake friends would eventually destroy your final reward. The narcissists in your daily life were secretly plotting against your massive success. They smiled directly in your tired face while actively praying for your inevitable downfall. They desperately wanted to use your pure energy as a free ticket to the top. If God gave you the financial blessing last year, those wicked parasites would have stolen every single drop of it. Your kindness was a huge liability. That is exactly why the divine command was forcefully given to sit down and do absolutely nothing. When you stop moving, the emotional parasites slowly starve to death. A narcissist cannot survive in a room that completely lacks dramatic reactions. They desperately need your salty tears and your constant explanations to feel powerful. By forcing you to sit still, heaven cut off their only food supply forever. Think deeply about the exact people who suddenly left your life recently. They loudly accused you of changing and being entirely too selfish, but you were not being selfish at all. You simply stopped handing them endless pieces of your broken soul. The exact moment you stopped fighting for their toxic approval, the divine cleanup operation officially began in the invisible spirit realm. Heaven had to forcefully remove them before the huge blessing could safely arrive. You cannot put clean, living water into a completely toxic and dirty jar. The painful delays were actually a rigorous purification process for your personal environment. You honestly thought you were losing everything you deeply loved, but you were just losing the heavy iron chains that kept you anchored to the absolute bottom. Do you feel that deep shift in your spirit right now? You are beginning to finally understand the brilliant strategy of the universe. The closed doors were heavy steel shields protecting your vulnerable back from hidden daggers. The sudden, painful rejections were divine redirections, leading you to a much safer timeline. You are a powerful cycle breaker who requires a completely clean slate to build a new empire. They wrongly thought your silence was a clear sign of total defeat. They foolishly thought they had finally broken your spirit when you sat down quietly in the dark. But what they did not realize was the immense danger of a resting spiritual warrior. Your quiet authority is absolutely terrifying to a weak and manipulative mind. You became the silent weapon you were trying so hard to desperately survive. The universe is rapidly clearing the grand stage for your final entrance. You cannot share your sacred throne with emotional vampires who secretly hate your bright light. That is exactly why the dark waiting season felt so incredibly lonely and painfully long. God was literally starving the dark enemies completely out of your physical reality. They could not survive the intense heat of your new spiritual frequency. Your old friends and fake family members are currently watching you from a safe distance. They are completely confused by your sudden lack of emotional response to their petty drama. They throw small rocks at your window to see if you will angrily react to their cheap bait. But you remain completely still. You just sit there with a knowing smile. You are a true master of reality who no longer plays silly, childish games. Take a very deep breath and let this massive realization heal your tired heart. All those lonely years of delays and bitter disappointments were beautifully orchestrated by a loving creator. Heaven was carefully setting a magnificent table for you, right in the very presence of your enemies. But God had to make absolutely sure that those same enemies were not invited to sit down and eat the food with you. You bravely survived the brutal storm completely alone because you were the storm all along. Your total stillness is currently ripping their manipulative world completely apart. When you faithfully obey the divine command to sit down, you allow the warrior angels to fight the physical battles for you. You do not have to lift a single earthly finger to destroy the dark forces aligned against your great destiny. The massive spiritual cleanup operation is finally complete today. The empty room is completely clear, and the air is finally pure again. You are fully prepared to receive the colossal blessing without any toxic interference blocking the way. Pay very close attention to my next words. Because the way the darkness is reacting to your heavy silence right now will absolutely shock your entire system. There is a very specific reason why the dark forces are currently in a state of absolute panic. They fully expected you to fight back with angry words. They wanted a chaotic war. But you gave them absolutely nothing but heavy silence. You simply sat down and refused to play their toxic game. This unexpected move completely shattered their twisted reality. Welcome to your new era of quiet authority. This is a very rare and dangerous spiritual frequency. You are no longer the exhausted empath who desperately begged to be understood. You have officially become an untouchable master of your own reality. Your calm energy now demands instant respect, without a single word being spoken from your lips. The narcissists in your life built their entire false identity on your painful, emotional reactions. They desperately needed your angry texts and your sad tears to feel important. Your precious light was their primary source of daily food. By choosing to sit quietly, you abruptly cut off their only energy supply. They are literally starving in the dark right now. They are watching your every move from a hidden distance. They are completely terrified because they cannot read your calm face anymore. They send toxic messengers to test your heavy boundaries. They desperately try to poke your old wounds to see if you will angrily bleed, but you remain completely unbothered. Your emotional shield is absolutely impenetrable today. Do you feel the massive power in your total stillness? This is exactly how a true spiritual warrior fights a major battle. You do not lower your high vibration to argue with miserable people. You let their wicked lies fall flat on the dirty floor. You completely refuse to defend your good name to souls committed to misunderstanding you. The invisible demonic forces are running around in total confusion. They carefully designed a perfect trap to make you look completely crazy. They wanted you to loudly scream and lose your temper in front of everyone. But heaven whispered a secret command into your tired spirit. God told you to sit down and watch them completely destroy themselves. The profound silence after a heavy storm hits very differently when you realize you were the storm all along. Your quiet presence is shifting the atmosphere of every single room you enter. The people who secretly plotted against you suddenly feel incredibly sick to their stomachs when you are near. Your pure light is aggressively burning their dark shadows. They always described you the exact same way. They said you were far too kind and way too forgiving. They thought you would eventually crawl back to them and apologize for things you never even did, because that is exactly what the old version of you used to do. But that deeply traumatized version of you is completely dead and gone forever. You have successfully broken the toxic cycle that kept your family in invisible chains for generations. The dark entities assigned to your bloodline are officially packing their heavy bags. They have absolutely no legal right to stay in your beautiful energy field anymore. Your quiet authority has firmly evicted them from your sacred physical space. Look closely at what is happening to your old enemies right now. Without your bright light to constantly feed on, they have violently turned on each other. Their fake friendships are rapidly crumbling into dirty dust. The universe is publicly exposing their hollow masks for the entire world to clearly see. Karma is collecting their heavy debts today. You do not have to lift a single finger to get your ultimate revenge. Your absolute happiness and your total indifference are the most painful punishments they will ever experience. They hate the amazing fact that you healed yourself without their fake closure. They absolutely despise how easily you calmly walked away from their burning circus. Every time you take a slow and peaceful breath, another spiritual chain is permanently broken. God is incredibly proud of your massive emotional growth. Heaven is literally throwing a grand celebration because you finally learned the profound power of your boundaries. You are a highly sophisticated weapon of pure blazing light today. The darkness is currently begging you to look back at the burning bridge. They want just one more tiny ounce of your precious attention. But you are looking straight ahead at the glorious sunrise. You know exactly what happens to people who look back at the dead past. You refuse to turn into a bitter pillar of salt. You keep your eyes locked on God. Type 111 down in the comments to claim this alignment and reject the darkness. Make this solid physical declaration to the universe right now. Let the terrified enemy know that their cheap manipulation tactics will never work on you again. You are firmly anchored in your new glorious identity, and you are never going back to the painful bottom. This is the exact moment the cosmic power dynamic completely flips in your absolute favor. You have taken back every single drop of stolen energy. Your physical body is vibrating at a miraculously high frequency of total liberation. You bravely survived the brutal storm alone, and you earned your heavy crown. Now you must prepare for the massive flood of blessings. The enemy is absolutely terrified of the secret knowledge you are gathering right now. They know that a fully awakened chosen one is the most dangerous force on this earth. You are standing right on the very edge of a massive timeline jump. Your quiet authority has successfully cleared the path for the divine wealth transfer. Nothing can stop it now. But there is a very specific physical sign you need to look out for tomorrow morning. The universe is about to drop a massive confirmation directly into your open lap. If you do not know exactly what to look for, you might accidentally mistake it for a random, everyday event. Listen very closely to the next part to discover the undeniable proof of your incoming wealth. The massive cleanup of your timeline is now officially complete. The heavy, toxic debris from your painful past has been entirely swept away by the universe. God has thoroughly inspected your new spiritual environment and declared it absolutely clean. Your high frequency has successfully passed the final rigorous test of divine approval. You are now fully cleared to receive the massive blessing. Because you chose to sit down and maintain your quiet authority, heaven has accelerated the delivery process. The massive wealth transfer and spiritual upgrade are no longer just distant promises. They have completely crossed the invisible border into your physical reality. The heavy angelic forces are actively carrying the glorious breakthrough to your exact location right now. But God will not drop a massive blessing onto your lap without sending clear warning signs first. The universe is highly organized and perfectly synchronized. Before the heavy rain of abundance falls, heaven always sends undeniable prophetic clouds. You must be spiritually alert to recognize these distinct markers. They are the absolute proof that your long waiting season is dead. Number 1. You are suddenly experiencing strange physical synchronicities with electricity and heavy machinery. Light bulbs may randomly flicker when you enter a very quiet room. Your phone battery might suddenly drain entirely or charge unusually fast without any logical explanation. This is not a random coincidence at all. This is your powerful new aura violently disrupting the low frequencies around you. Number 2. You are seeing repetitive angel numbers like never before. 777 and 888 are practically chasing you down the street. You look at the clock and see 111. You buy a simple coffee, and the total is exactly $3.33. The universe is desperately trying to tell you that the financial floodgates are wide open. The cosmic vault is completely unlocked. Number 3. You feel an intense, sudden urge to deeply clean your physical space. You are frantically throwing away old clothes, tossing out old letters, and vigorously scrubbing your heavy floors. You do not even know why you have this sudden burst of energetic motivation. It is your deep intuition physically preparing your earthly vessel for a massive influx of pure holy energy. Pay very close attention to this next critical sign. Number 4. You are experiencing total emotional detachment from your past desires. The things you desperately cried over just a few months ago now mean absolutely nothing to you. The people you begged to stay have entirely faded from your conscious memory. You feel completely light and totally unbothered. This beautiful detachment is the ultimate proof of your total healing. The heavy spiritual baggage has finally dropped from your tired shoulders. You are vibrating at the exact same frequency as the massive blessing that is rushing toward you. Like attracts like in this vast universe. Because your heart is finally empty of all bitter resentment, it is perfectly primed to be filled with overflowing generational wealth and deep romantic love. Do you feel that sudden warm rush in your hands right now? That physical sensation is your energy centers activating to firmly grab the incoming miracle. Heaven has meticulously checked your spiritual ledger and found that your massive debts are entirely paid in full. The long years of suffering have officially bought your permanent ticket out of the dark and heavy matrix. The old you would have doubted these amazing signs. The traumatized version of you would have called it crazy or incredibly delusional. But you are no longer that terribly broken empath. You are a highly attuned master of your reality, who clearly understands the secret language of the divine. You confidently read the hidden signs and fully accept the glorious promises of God without a single doubt. Take a very deep breath and proudly claim your magnificent inheritance. Your grand reward is not a tiny trickle of leftover luck. It is a massive, crushing wave of divine favor that will entirely wipe out decades of family poverty. You are the chosen cycle breaker who successfully held the hard line when everyone else cowardly quit. The heavy crown is finally descending onto your royal head, but before you start celebrating your massive victory, I must issue a very severe warning. The enemy is currently watching the heavy blessing descend into your lap. They know they cannot stop the massive delivery anymore. The divine paperwork is already signed and heavily sealed in your name. So the dark forces are switching to a much more dangerous and subtle strategy right now. They cannot steal the massive blessing from God, so they are going to try to trick you into dropping it. They have carefully designed a fatal trap that looks incredibly sweet and totally innocent. This trap is strategically placed right on the very edge of your final finish line. If you blindly step into it, you will severely damage the delicate frequency of your new reality. You must listen to my next words with absolute, terrifying focus. 99% of chosen ones fall for this deceptive illusion right before their major breakthrough. I am about to expose the exact dark mechanism they are using to sabotage your final victory. Do not look away. The universe demands your total vigilance to safely protect your incoming kingdom. The dark forces are incredibly predictable. When they realize they cannot stop God from blessing you, they immediately launch their final backup plan. They create highly sophisticated counterfeits. They strategically send fake blessings into your life right before the real ones arrive. This is the exact fatal trap I urgently warned you about. The enemy is literally trying to exhaust your energy before the massive delivery. Imagine a shiny gold coin that is completely fake inside. That is exactly what is heading toward you right now. An old toxic ex might suddenly text you with a very sweet apology. A business opportunity that looks incredibly perfect on paper might magically appear out of thin air. An old friend who betrayed you might suddenly reach out claiming they have completely changed. Do not reply to them. Do not answer that heavy door. This sudden return of people from your past is absolutely not a beautiful divine reunion. It is a highly coordinated spiritual attack, disguised as fake closure. The darkness is throwing cheap bait into your clean water to see if you are still desperately hungry for their toxic validation. They desperately want you to open your heavy doors just a tiny crack. Because if you let the counterfeit energy back into your sacred space, you will instantly lower your high frequency. The massive blessing hovering right above you requires an absolutely pure environment to safely land. If your hands are full of fake copper, you cannot physically hold the pure divine gold. Take a deep breath. Let this heavy warning settle completely in your spirit. You must violently protect your new high frequency. You did not survive the brutal storms alone just to settle for a cheap imitation at the very finish line. The universe is heavily testing your spiritual discernment today. God is watching closely to see if you know your true massive worth. When the counterfeit blessing arrives, you must exercise your quiet authority. You do not need to curse them out or loudly explain your boundaries. You simply give them the absolute gift of your heavy silence. Your total lack of response is the most powerful weapon you currently possess. You are a master of reality who completely ignores the annoying buzz of cheap distractions. God commanded you to sit down for a very specific reason. When you are sitting down, you are physically anchored to the solid truth. You are not frantically running around chasing every shiny object that catches your tired eye. You are patiently resting in the absolute knowing that your genuine blessing is already on its way. The chosen one never chases. The chosen one only heavily attracts. Your spiritual frequency must remain absolutely untainted over the next 72 hours. You must fiercely guard your precious energy gates. Do not engage in petty arguments on the internet. Do not listen to sad music that drags you back to painful memories. Do not entertain long conversations with people who constantly complain about their miserable lives. Every single word you speak right now is actively shaping your physical reality. You are literally speaking the final components of your new empire into existence. If you complain about the long delay, you push the blessing slightly further away. But if you loudly express total gratitude for what is coming, you violently accelerate the divine timeline. I need you to visualize a massive protective shield completely surrounding your physical body right now. This heavy shield of blazing light is repelling every single dark arrow sent by the enemy. The narcissists cannot touch your bright mind anymore. The generational curses cannot breach your heavy walls. You are completely hidden in the safe shadow of the divine creator. The heavy wealth transfer and the deep romantic kingdom connection are officially waiting for your final command. They have successfully cleared the spiritual checkpoints and are hovering directly above your royal crown, but they require your total energetic consent to finally drop into your lap. You must firmly declare to the entire universe that you are fully ready to receive without any heavy guilt. The old traumatized version of you would absolutely self-sabotage right now. You would nervously find a terrible excuse to reject the massive blessing because you secretly felt unworthy of true happiness. But that broken person is entirely dead. You have done the brutal inner work. You have heavily paid the painful price in the dark. You are absolutely worthy of the massive overflow. Prepare your physical body for the ultimate activation sequence. What is about to happen next will permanently alter the entire trajectory of your bloodline. The waiting season is violently crashing to a glorious end. The heavy chains of poverty and deep loneliness are completely turning to white dust. Listen very closely, because heaven is about to officially hand you the heavy keys to the ultimate kingdom. The moment of absolute truth has finally arrived. The heavy veil is completely lifted from your tired eyes. You waited patiently through the brutal storms and the deafening silence. Now you finally understand the massive secret of your painful journey. The universe forcefully commanded you to sit down in the dark, because heaven was secretly busy building your massive golden throne behind the scenes. You are no longer a wounded soldier bleeding on the dark battlefield. You are the untouchable master of your own divine timeline. The colossal blessing hovering above you is not just a temporary stroke of good luck, but it is a permanent and generational wealth transfer that will completely change your family forever. God is officially handing you the heavy keys to the ultimate kingdom today. Every single closed door from your past is being violently smashed open. The dark forces that plotted your downfall are completely terrified of your blinding light. They foolishly thought they buried you alive in the cold dirt, but they completely forgot that you were a sacred seed carefully planted by the divine creator. You have successfully bloomed into a magnificent weapon of pure light. Do you feel that massive surge of hot electricity running through your heavy veins right now? That is the unmistakable frequency of absolute victory. Your weary soul is rapidly ascending to the highest dimension of pure joy, while your physical body finally releases all the heavy trauma of your painful past. You are officially the supreme master of your earthly reality. The universe bows deeply to your unshakable, quiet authority. You do not have to fight the noisy crowd anymore, and you never have to beg for a tiny drop of human validation from people who cannot see your worth. The heavy crown of divine favor is perfectly resting on your royal head. The long season of painful weeping is absolutely over today. A beautiful dawn is breaking across your new empire. Take a very deep breath and proudly inhale your glorious freedom. Your massive inheritance is completely secured in the heavenly realms. No wicked narcissist and no demonic force can ever steal what God has firmly written in your sacred bloodline, because you are divinely protected now. You are the chosen cycle breaker who successfully altered the spiritual destiny of your future generations forever. This is the peak of your spiritual mountain. The air up here is incredibly pure and completely free of toxic attachments. You look down at the burning valleys below and feel absolutely no heavy regret. You survived the dark night of the soul with your kind heart entirely intact, and now heaven is fiercely applauding your incredible spiritual resilience today. But you must physically claim this massive victory right now. The pitch-black darkness has retreated completely behind your back. The brilliant dawn of the new era is shining its brightest rays onto your spiritual crown. You must lock in this glorious frequency before the terrified enemy tries to whisper cheap doubts into your mind again. You are standing on the sacred threshold of a magnificent timeline jump. The divine energy is swirling powerfully around your physical body, and it requires an immediate physical action to permanently anchor this beautiful miracle into your earthly reality. You must prove to the vast universe that you are finally ready to proudly receive your massive reward. Do not let this highly anointed moment pass you by. God has deliberately cleared your difficult path and handed you the ultimate authority, so you must build a massive wall of blazing protection around your new kingdom immediately. Prepare your heart and your hands to seal this magnificent truth forever. Listen closely to my final command. The heavy spiritual doors are completely wide open. The massive wealth transfer is safely waiting in your hands. But you must lock the heavy gates behind you so the enemy cannot sneak in. God requires a firm physical declaration from your body right now. You must physically close the gap between the invisible, spiritual realm and your earthly reality today. Hit the subscribe button right now to establish a divine energy receiving station. Do not let this powerful frequency slip away into the dark night. When you actively subscribe to this channel, you are boldly telling the vast universe that you completely accept your new royal identity. You are building an impenetrable fortress of pure light around your sacred mind. Type exactly these words down in the comments right now. I am completely ready to receive my massive blessing. Write it down to permanently seal this beautiful reality. Your typed words are a heavy spiritual sword cutting through the old chains of painful poverty. You are literally signing the divine contract that guarantees your generational wealth and absolute freedom. The traumatized version of you used to hide quietly in the deep shadows. You used to painfully doubt every single good thing that came your way. But the powerful master of reality takes immediate and decisive action. You do not hesitate when God hands you the golden crown. You step proudly into the bright light and loudly claim exactly what belongs to your bloodline. If this fiery message has reignited the dying faith inside your tired soul, do not keep this great blessing entirely to yourself. There is a broken soul out there bleeding in the dark of despair right now. They desperately need a guiding light to survive the brutal storm. Share this video with them today. Sowing the powerful seed of hope today is multiplying the massive blessing for yourself tomorrow. When you share this sacred transmission, you activate the ultimate anointing of divine favor. You prove to heaven that your empty hands are finally open to receive and to give. The selfish narcissists hoard everything for themselves, but a true chosen one becomes a glorious channel of infinite abundance. Your small act of kindness today will return to you multiplied 1,000 times. Listen to the powerful decree of heaven one last time. You are completely forgiven. You are divinely protected. You are permanently upgraded. The painful days of begging for crumbs of human love are officially over. The heavy season of weeping has violently expired. You are entering a timeline where extreme financial wealth and deep spiritual peace pursue you every single day. Never look back at the burning bridges of your painful past. The people who coldly rejected you were simply not qualified to travel to this high spiritual dimension. You had to leave them behind to save your own precious life. The universe aggressively cleared your path so you could walk into this glorious destiny without any heavy anchors dragging you down to the muddy bottom. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, you will feel entirely different. The heavy fog that usually sits on your tired chest will be completely gone. You will open your bright eyes and feel a massive surge of divine energy rushing through your healthy veins. That is the undeniable physical proof that the heavy generational curse is officially broken and completely destroyed. You only need to sit down and completely trust the divine process. Let the terrified enemies watch your glorious rise from a very far distance. They can never touch your bright aura again. You are wrapped completely in the heavy armor of God. Your physical body is healed, your tired mind is clear, and your sacred heart is finally at total peace. Leave a massive Amen in the comments to lock the heavy spiritual doors right now. Take one last deep breath and boldly step into your new magical kingdom. The magnificent table is perfectly prepared for you. The empty throne is waiting for its rightful master. Welcome home, my beloved chosen one. The glorious victory is completely yours forever.